I have calmed down since my last video about why anger management therapy is total hot flaming garbage. So I thought today it would be good to talk about what techniques I use to properly manage my anger, and also critique why anger management therapy techniques do not work. The first article that pulls up for me when I Google the words anger management is an article from helpguide.org titled Anger Management: How to Control Anger Issues. And this is by Melinda Smith, MA, Jean Segal, PhD, and Sheldon Reed, whoever that guy is. And I want to stress that Jean Segal, a PhD involved in writing this article, this is the type of anger management advice and therapy you will get if you seek professional help. So I just want to stress that so you guys know this is legitimately what you would get in anger management therapy. Anger is a normal, healthy emotion, neither good nor bad, which is something I stressed in my last video, so I like to see that here starting off. Starting off, this is a good article, but we're gonna get to that later. And chronic anger that flares up all the time or spirals out of control can have serious consequences for your physical health, your mental health, your career, your relationships around you. And while I do somewhat agree with that, because being angry and harboring anger definitely can cause mental and physical health problems, but it's not the anger itself that causes problems in your career or in your relationships. I would argue that there is already a problem in your career or within your relationships that's triggering that anger and not allowing it to process in a healthy way, and that problem needs to be fixed, not the anger itself. Or maybe it's your actions after you're angry, after you become angry, that are the problem. And maybe you need to fix the actions you take and the way you treat other people, but I don't agree that anger itself is the direct cause of career and relationship issues. If you have a hot temper, you may feel like it's out of your hands and that there's little you can do to tame the beast, but you have more control over your anger than you think. Specifically saying control your anger, not allow yourself to be angry because it's a normal, healthy emotion. No, it goes right back to control your anger, which I don't like. You can learn to express your emotions without hurting others and keep your temper from hijacking your life, which is true, and I agree with that. But I don't agree that the advice they give you does that. Some of it will help you with it, but I'm gonna help you understand the difference between what advice here does actually help with that and what advice here actually hinders it. Never getting angry is not a healthy goal. Anger will come out regardless of how you try to tamp it down. The true goal of anger management isn't to suppress feelings of anger, but rather to understand and express it in a healthy way without losing control. The problem here is they believe that anger is the thing in control and that you can't control yourself when you are angry because the anger is controlling you. And I'm going to tell you that's not true. You are 100% in control of your own actions. Even when you're angry, even when other people are making you angry. Yes, they are controlling you in a way to make you angry, but they are not controlling the actions you take when you are angry. What you do when you are angry is 100% in your control. And the next paragraph, that's where we start to see these contradictions appear. Learning to control your anger and express it appropriately. That's the problem. Didn't you just tell us it's okay to be angry? Didn't you just tell us anger's a perfectly normal human emotion? But now you're saying learn to control your anger. After saying the purpose of anger management isn't to suppress your anger. No, you just want to control the anger. You don't want to suppress it. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense at all to somebody who is angry and is trying to get help for it. And tip number 1 is to explore what's really going on behind your anger. As I said in my last video, that's what you need to do. You need to focus on the root cause of the anger. So that's good advice. And this section's actually pretty good. It talks about how anger can be stemmed from childhood trauma or health issues or seeing your parents process anger badly and make bad decisions and actions when they are angry can teach you to also process your anger badly. So that's all good. And tip number 2 is all about the physical warning signs of being angry, like clenching up and pacing and knots in your stomach. Like, I think we all mostly understand what the warning signs of being angry are and what anger feels like, but I don't have any complaints with the way they worded it here. But tip number 3 is what I really have a problem with, and where we're gonna start to get into the nitty-gritty of the details. Tip number 3 is to identify your triggers, which in and of itself is fine. It's the wording that they use. Stressful events don't excuse anger. Now, excuse me. Why do I need to excuse anger? You told me it was a perfectly healthy human emotion. Why do I need to excuse something that's healthy and normal? But the real problem I have with this section is it directly contradicts itself. It says, when you identify your triggers, think about ways to either avoid them or view the situation differently so they don't make your blood boil. So first in this sentence, we are acknowledging they can make you angry. They can make your blood boil. Whatever situation or person or event that is, you know that's a trigger for you, so you can avoid it so it can't make you angry. And then the next sentence is, you may think that external factors, the insensitive actions of other people, for example, or frustrating situations are causing your anger. But anger problems have less to do with what happened to you than how you interpret and think about what happened. So why are we acknowledging they are triggers, right? They can make your blood boil. They can make you angry. But then the next sentence is, no, those other people have no impact on you. It's all in your head. It's all how you perceive what they are doing. It's all a mental thing, right? So don't get angry. That's what this is saying. And how can you acknowledge they can be triggers, right? They can cause you to be angry. How can you say cause you to be angry in one instance, but not cause you to be angry in the next one? That is hypocritical. And that is one of the biggest things I hate about anger management therapy. And this whole section about negative thought patterns that can trigger your anger. Not true. That's a bunch of BS, because it's not thought processes that trigger anger. It's an action that triggers anger. And the thought process is how you handle that anger, how you manage that anger, how you think about that anger. And maybe it has an influence on the actions you take while angry, like your next steps. But it's not the thought process that causes anger. If somebody just comes out of the blue and just punches you in the face, you're gonna be angry. And there's no thought process that's really gonna mitigate that and make you think, oh, I shouldn't be angry at that guy that just assaulted me. No, it's perfectly normal to be angry at that guy who assaulted you. And as they said before, anger is normal, so I'm sure they would agree with that. But when you go and say, well, overgeneralizing, obsessing, jumping to conclusion, collecting straws, and blaming aren't gonna help you with your anger, I feel like that's just not hitting the right point of the situation and not acknowledging that yes, sometimes other people are to blame for your anger. Sometimes other people do intentionally try to make you angry, and that's something that I grew up with, being, the youngest of 4 children, being in a daycare that my mother ran, and then having to go to daycare for years and getting picked on, and then again being bullied throughout my entire life, because bullying does not stop in high school. When you graduate as an adult, people will bully you in the workplace. It's stupid, but it happens. So as somebody who has experienced being picked on, being bullied, having people intentionally try and make me angry, yes, some people are to blame for your anger. Some people are to blame for trying to rile you up and making you angry. And it's not a bad thought process that gets you there. And the next little bit here is just a bunch of bullshit about rethink it in a positive way. Think about this in a positive light. Reframe the situation so that it sounds like it'll work out well for you. And I cannot stand, I absolutely loathe toxic positivity. So I could go into a whole rant about toxic positivity and why just reframing something in your head and trying to think more positively about something just does not work. But I will say, there are times when I say something very realistic about a situation, someone comes at me with toxic positivity, when that ship comes crashing down, I always say, I told you so. Just leaving it at that. Oh, tip number 4. This is the one I've been waiting for, that I told you earlier on, when they say anger is a perfectly healthy, normal human emotion. Tip number 4 is what spits in the face of that and shows how hypocritical they are and how they're really not trying to help you feel better and understand your anger better. They're really just trying to get you to suppress your anger. And that is tip number 4, is learn ways to cool down quickly. Why do I need to cool down quickly? Why can't I be angry? Why can't you allow me to be angry? I know I'm shouting. Maybe that's not the right way to answer that. But why can't I be angry? What's the problem? What's the problem with being angry? You just said it was normal and healthy to be angry. Why do I have to cool down? I can think rationally when I'm angry. I don't lash out at people when I'm angry. Maybe I'm a little difficult to deal with, and yeah, maybe I hold on to my anger a little bit too long, but why can't I be angry? When you said it's okay to be angry, why are you trying to control my anger, and why are you trying to suppress it? Why are you trying to get me to cool down quickly after you told me I didn't have to suppress my anger? Basically, once you understand your triggers, you can act quickly to deal with your anger before it spins out of control. Again, your anger is not in control of you. You are in control of yourself, and you can be angry and still control yourself and still control your actions. There are many techniques that can help you cool down and keep your anger in check. Keep your anger suppressed. How is that? How do you not understand that keep your anger in check means the same thing as suppress your anger. How do you not understand that? Yeah, maybe I should just put like a little sticky up here that says, you don't have to suppress your anger. That's what they told us early on, right? Why does everything they tell us, why is everything they're telling us to do suppressing your anger? I don't understand. Now, I've read ahead. I've read this whole article. And I can tell you that everything they tell you here to help reduce anger, yeah, most of it will work a little bit, but I have a caveat to each one. So I'm going to actually break this one up individually and go through each option here. Focus on the physical sensations of anger. Tuning into the way your body feels when you're angry often lessens the emotional intensity of your anger. Yes, I could see that happening. For me personally, it just makes me angrier. I don't know, maybe there's something wrong with me. Maybe you guys don't experience that, but I personally feel like that one doesn't work when I'm angry. On the other hand, conscientiousness and mindfulness has been proven to reduce anger, reduce stress, reduce negative issues and tension in general. So I have seen in my own personal life, and I've seen, because I do read studies, you can find a study that says anything, blah, blah, blah. But when you're doing chores and you're focusing on, how does this soapy dishwasher water feel on my hands, right? When you're mindfulness and you're paying attention to the little things, stop and smell the roses, that kind of thing, on a daily basis. That helps with your stress level, that helps with your anger level, and that helps with overall happiness and satisfaction with life. So while I don't agree that will help me calm down when I'm angry, I do agree that being mindful and being conscientious in general can help with anger if you practice it often. And that's something I'm going to keep getting at down this list. Take a deep breath and counteract that rising anger. Now this is one that I kind of agree with, kind of don't. So I personally, when I'm very angry, I can't do breathing exercises well because it's physically uncomfortable. But if I also force myself to do them, I just get really lightheaded, and I don't think that personally helps me. I've tried it, and I've been able to successfully calm down my breathing with it, but I feel like just getting lightheaded just makes me more angry, and it makes me able to think less clearly, so I'm personally not a fan of this one because of that. But in general, if you practice deep breathing exercises, they've been known to reduce stress. They've known to help you calm down in general. And I can tell you from doing like yoga, when I work out, I can do like yoga meditation and yoga breathing with working out. And I've noticed that really does help with anger. I feel a positive effect from that, but I only get that if I'm working out with it, but not when I'm angry. I don't work out when I'm angry, and I will get to that later. Oh, it's the next one. So it says, get moving. A brisk walk around the block is a great idea. Physical activity releases pent-up energy so you can approach the situation with a cooler head. Now, I know some people it helps with, and if you feel like it helps, do it. I know everybody's a little bit different. Everybody has different things that help them and make them feel worse. If you feel like it helps you, great. I personally don't work out when I'm angry because it will cause me to, with my anger, trying to fight that anger, trying to be productive, trying to beat it, I will push myself too hard. And I understand that if I'm angry and I work out, I will push myself too hard and I'll injure myself. I will re-injure myself. I will work myself out until I'm sick and can't do anything rest of the day. And maybe I'll be more reactive and be more angry and more trigger happy because I'm already feeling worse from working out too hard. So I personally don't work out when I'm angry. But I see the benefits of working out in general. Having a regular exercise routine in general reduces stress, makes me feel better. Use your senses, which is kind of what I talked about before with like mindfulness and conscientiousness. Just focus on physical sensations around you, smell things around you, whatever. Like focusing on stuff can help ground you to reality in general. So I do agree with that one. That one's fine. Stretch or massage areas of tension. Roll your shoulders if you are tensing them. And I think that goes back up to what they were talking about earlier with like focus on how you are feeling. If you're focusing on how you're feeling and like you see that you're tensed up, it's easier to say, hey, I'm tensed up. Maybe I should roll my shoulders a bit, get less tense, maybe I'll be less angry. And sometimes that can help, so I don't think that's bad advice. Let your rational mind catch up to your feelings by counting sheep. I get what this one is saying, and this one is perfectly fine to do. I personally don't feel like it helps me, but if it helps you, that's great. So when you're angry and you're thinking about this thing over here that's causing you anger, you can say, hey, no, I'm going to think about something totally perfectly and rational. Over here, I'm going to think about something logical. Over here, I'm going to think about counting sheep. And if I get to 10, great, I'm going to be less angry. The problem here is that it says, if you still feel out of control by the time you reach 10, start counting again. Now there's a few problems with this statement. Again, if you still feel out of control, and I cannot stress this enough, you are in control of yourself. You are in control of your own actions. You're not in control of your feelings. You can be angry. That's okay. You don't have to control your anger. You can still be angry and think logically. And that's what this exercise should be doing. It should be teaching you that yes, you can be angry and still think clearly. You don't have to use this to completely control yourself. If you're still angry by the time you get to 10, that's fine. I don't think you need to start over and keep counting until you stop being angry, because you don't need to suppress your anger. You don't need to avoid your anger. You don't need to act like it's not there. You need to be able to think clearly, process that emotion of anger, that strong anger that you have, process it, just think about it. And then maybe once you count to 10, you can start thinking, what do I do to fix this situation? What can I do to improve my situation? What can I do to avoid lashing out at people? What can I do to help myself? Not counting again to 10 until the anger just flies away, because that's not gonna happen. Is there anything I can do about it? Yeah, there is almost always something you can do about it. You can make it better and you can make it worse. There's always something you can do. If you've decided that the situation is worth getting angry about, no, you can't decide to get angry. You get angry as a response. It's not a decision to be angry. The key is to express your feelings in a healthy way. Yeah, I agree with that. Let's express our feelings in a healthy way. There are a lot of healthy ways to express our feelings without suppressing them. Learning how to resolve conflict in a positive way will help you strengthen your relationships rather than damaging them. Now, I have a lot I could talk about with this point because this is when I guess you could say it triggers me, but I'm not going to get into all of it right now. I'm going to do the like nutshell version. Not every relationship is worth salvaging. You can't fix a relationship by yourself. Every conflict has two people in it, and you need that other person to work with you. So this whole section, while some of the advice is decent, it only works if the other person is willing to work with you. You are basically, it's just saying you have to step up and work with that other person. And while I agree with that, if you want to fix a problem, you got to work on it. You got to compromise. You got to step up and say, hey, let's fix it together. But there's a lot of situations where you don't have that control. You don't have the say in that. That other person isn't going to fix the situation with you. Always fight fair because people don't want you to fight unfairly. Well, yeah, that's why I'm angry, is because somebody's fighting unfairly with me. You expect me to come at this like an unfair fight with a fair set of rules and expect them to just, now play by the fair rules? Not gonna happen. I personally can't stand people who are passive aggressive. I think it is always best to speak your mind, speak your feelings, tell people you're upset with them, tell people, hey, I want to improve this issue. I think that goes a long way. I don't think being passive or aggressive gets you anywhere. Oh, it actually says be assertive, practice voicing your needs and setting boundaries in a way that's respectful but clear to those around you. All right, I totally agree with that one. That's a good part to have in here. That's good advice. Number 6 is to stay calm by taking care of yourself. Taking care of your overall mental and physical well-being can help ease tension and diffuse anger problems. This is kind of what I talked about before, that in general, taking care of yourself, having a regular exercise regimen, getting enough sleep, eating healthy, taking care of your body and your mind, in general, these everyday activities will lower your overall stress levels, lower your overall anger levels, and reduce like how easily it is to get you riled up. So I don't agree with everything they say in this section, but this is like in general what I had been saying earlier. So overall I agree with it. And I'll point out this little note about be smart about alcohol and drugs. Even caffeine can make you more irritable and prone to anger. I can't stress that enough. For sure, don't abuse substances, especially if you have an anger problem. It's just going to make things worse. Now, I don't understand why they have a part in here about keeping an anger journal, which is essentially venting your problems when they told us earlier not to vent them. I don't like that. That's hypocritical. And I don't really like tip number 7, which is to use humor to relieve tension and situations. The way they talk about it here, making self-deprecating humor, I feel like is just going to lead to more guilt and anger and shame surrounding anger problems. So I probably wouldn't go about it that way. And overall, I do think humor is a good thing. I think you should have more humor in your life. I think watching something every single day that makes you laugh is a good habit to get into. You should be laughing at least once a day. If you're not laughing at least once a day, then you need to fix something in your life and introduce more joy. Now this is tip number 8, and this is the worst one. It's recognize if you need anger management classes. If despite putting these previous anger management techniques into practice, your anger is still spiraling out of control, or you're getting into trouble with the law or hurting others, you may need professional help. This could be in the form of therapy or anger management classes. I feel like I've done a pretty good job of showing you that these anger management techniques really don't work because they're not addressing the root cause of the anger. They're just telling you, calm down, suppress your anger, don't be angry anymore. So no, these tips are not going to work. So if you follow this and then you come back down to tip number 8 and you're like, I tried and I'm still angry, they just want you to sign up for anger management classes and pay them money. That's what the whole crux of this is. That's the nefariousness going on behind the scenes. But we earn a commission if you sign up for BetterHelp services after clicking through from this site. I don't know if I'm gonna put that in this video or not, but they get a commission for putting BetterHelp on here. And I'm gonna tell you right now, don't ever use BetterHelp. Don't ever use BetterHelp. Research shows that anger management programs decrease anger, improve problem solving and communication skills. Research also shows that anger management just helps you bottle your emotions and enact revenge later when you won't get caught. So, research can tell you whatever you want to know. And some classes offer a certificate of completion, which might be needed if your participation in the class was court-ordered. Now, I have been to therapy as a court mandate before, and I want to tell you right now, I had the absolute worst experience with therapists in any situation where it was court-ordered, and the ones that I had better experiences with were not court-ordered. So if you're like in charge of doing court-ordered anger management therapy and like recommending people do it, shame on you. You can connect with others who are also dealing with anger issues, learn about their experiences, and potentially discover coping strategies that have worked for them. And that's essentially what I'm trying to do right now with this video. I'm sharing you my experience with anger and anger management therapy. I'm showing you what has not worked for me, so you can maybe know to stay away from it, or at least go into it with a little bit more preparation, whatever you want to call it. And I want to tell you that the biggest things that have helped me with anger management are essentially taking care of myself, eating better, sleeping better, working out, and having a hobby. I personally find that having some sort of creative outlet, whether it be drawing, painting, playing a musical instrument, sewing, making YouTube videos, having some sort of creative outlet as a hobby is the single best thing that has helped me with my anger and has helped me cope with my anger and has helped me process things and think about them. Like while I'm doing the creative project, I can think about what made me angry and maybe come up with solutions to fix it. So I personally recommend take care of yourself and get a creative hobby. Those for me are personally the 2 most important things when it comes to managing anger properly and not in the anger management therapy sort of way. And I do appreciate this little blip at the end that says anger isn't the real problem in an abusive relationship. Despite what many believe, domestic violence and abuse does not happen due to the abuser's loss of control over their temper. Rather, it's a deliberate choice to control another person. If you are abusive towards your spouse or partner, know that you need specialized treatment, not regular anger management classes. And that's kind of what I was getting at in my other video where I said people who lash out at others are okay with lashing out at others and they're going to do it when they're not angry too. That's what I was getting at. Because the fundamental idea that anger is controlling you is wrong. You control yourself. Anger is just an emotion that makes you feel a certain way. And you are 100% in control of your actions and the way you treat other people. And if you were interested in hearing from my last video, I said I was very angry about something. I'd been angry for about a week. And I want to tell you that actually sitting down and talking about anger was actually really beneficial for me. It was like 2 days ago, I think, that I did that video, and it really helped me calm down. It actually really helped me vent some of my frustrations out, and I actually was able to release my anger after doing that video and recording it. I was able to calm down after doing that video and discuss the steps that needed to be taken with the person who made me angry. And we were able to come to a solution, and we were able to find that path forward and actually take action in fixing it. And really, it's a mitigating it, because there's no fixing it, because it's gonna have long-term consequences. But just so you guys know, update, I'm not just seething angry anymore, because I was able to process my anger in a healthy way and actually take steps to fix it. And since it helped me, maybe I'm hoping it could help you guys or be entertaining at least. But if you guys have any questions for me or want to know what my advice would be, feel free to ask me down below. Leave a comment. I am an open book. I'll talk about anything. I have a lot of advice that I'm willing to give people. Take it or leave it. You don't have to take everything I said. And maybe I'll keep doing videos for this channel. This has been kind of fun so far. So if you guys are interested, hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys for watching my video today. Maybe I'll see you guys next time.